topic for today is, what is the purpose of life? I'm going to start this lesson by drawing a diagram because I think it's going to help people to understand what I'm talking about in terms of life and how it relates to source and what it really is that we're doing down here. So, to begin with, you begin as part of source energy. You're in that large objective perception of all that is. So let's say that this is source. Your source self could be called your higher self. Really, there is no time and space that separates you from your higher self. It's just a different dimensional aspect of you. But here you are in this perspective of the source you. You decide to project forward the thought of you in this physical life. So here comes the projection. You project you here. Now here you are in your physical self. That doesn't mean that this perspective of your source self now disappears. That doesn't mean that all you are is here in this physical body. This means that now you are 2 points of perception. This is why you can have the experience of, say, intuition. It's because even though you have this perspective that you have in your physical body, the identity that you call you by your name right here in this life, you also still have this perception. So this higher self, source view self, sees much more of the totality of your experience than you do. For example, because it's not inhibited by space and by time, to you over here, if your soulmate is in Africa, it might be very difficult for you to conceive of meeting up with this person, but to your source self, that's no distance at all. So, here you are in your physical life. Every time you have a desire, let's say in the space that you came into a family which is very unloving. Now you've projected the desire, the second that you experience that, of the feeling of this perfect relationship with people, where you're feeling loved. Now, what this does, the minute you give birth to desire, is it sets forth what source will now become. So your source self, which is devoid of resistance. What I mean by that is, you have a lot of resistant thoughts to the very desires which you create. So you might say, I want a good relationship, but I don't think I deserve it. I want a good relationship, but good relationships don't happen to me. Those thoughts are resistant thoughts, and they hold you vibrationally apart from your desire. Your source self does not have thoughts of resistance. None at all. So the minute you give rise to the desire, your source self becomes this frequency. It becomes it. And so now, you are playing a sort of game of catch-up. This is why it feels like sometimes you're catching up to the perfection of God. It is that way, that perception, because you're the one that told God what to become. We are the ones down here in our physical life which call source into the new place. The expansion of the universe, even that which you physically call the expansion of dark matter in the universe, is the result of this process that I'm talking about right now. So now, the minute you give rise to this desire and your source self becomes that desire because you have desired it, and you hold yourself in opposition to it, this is where emotions come into play. Your emotions are always your indication as to whether the thought you hold is in the direction of your desires and your source self or in opposition to them. So here you have your negative emotions, and here you have your positive emotions. When you are thinking a positive thought, that means that you are closing this gap between where you are and where your desires and where your source self and where source in totality is. When you are thinking thoughts which have a negative resonance and feel negative to you in terms of emotion, you are thinking a thought which holds you in opposition vibrationally to this spot. So, the purpose of life is the expansion of this universe. Evolution is a natural byproduct of life. You can't really call evolution the entire purpose of being here, because evolution is the inevitable byproduct of following what feels good to think. That's why, even though it may sound pretty Fruit Loopy for those of us who are talking about create your own reality and about the power of positive thinking, it's really not that Fruit Loopy at all. It is through you following what you think feels good and choosing the thoughts which deliberately feel good, which line you up with the very thought which you've put there in the first place. You're constantly lining up with your source self. Life itself was created in the first place because life is an expression of source which calls forth expansion in such a unique way. When we are down here in our physical bodies, we are honing through all of these physical experiences what our preferences are. The preferences show God, source, what to become. And not only what to become, but what it is. We are in a process of rediscovery. Source finds out what it is through our every waking breath. So we are instruments of honing. We hone the desire, we hone the improved idea, we hone the self-concept and the awareness. And that is what life is all about. So this is what's really causing the evolution that you see here, physical evolution from one species to a next species, is that the one-celled amoeba in the ocean is floating around and saying, perhaps I want more food today. Now let's say that that could be realized through the growth of an extra appendage. Even if that creature is not able to do so in its lifetime, or even over a course of 1,000,000 years, eventually that desire, once it is lined up with, will come forth in a new biological expression, which you see as physical evolution. So evolution is the inevitable byproduct of following what it is that you find bliss, emotionally find bliss, going in the direction of. So I hope that explains your question. If not, keep asking me questions, because I love where you're taking this stuff today.